Well, Planned Parenthood has many thousands of employees. They get hundreds of millions of tax dollars every year, and yet they were still able to collect $80 million more from taxpayers by posing as a small business. How'd they do that? Some lawmakers would like to know. We'll bring an update after the break. Well, churches were closed across America, but Planned Parenthood clinics stayed open, thanks to the politicians they paid off. Abortions were critical infrastructure in the view of so many governors. Gretchen Whitmer made that point explicitly. Despite that advantage they enjoyed over legitimate businesses, despite the fact the national organization of Planned Parenthood has thousands of employees, Planned Parenthood affiliates still collected $80 million from the federal government, money that was meant to assist small businesses. And you first heard about that on this show 2 nights ago. Now, 27 Republican senators have asked the Department of Justice to investigate why that money was sent to Planned Parenthood in the first place. Meanwhile, in an interview last week, Planned Parenthood's CEO celebrated the silver lining of the coronavirus. Not only the old dying, but so are the young, thanks to more telemedicine abortions.
Medication abortion is offered earlier in the gestational period, and it really requires just 2 pills that the person seeking abortion would take within a 24-hour period. In many cases, we're able to see a patient now with the expansion of telehealth via Skype like this, intake the patient and then drive, and that patient will come and pick up the prescription and go home and take that medication safely at home. It is actually a silver lining in this pandemic.
Silver lining. Just when you thought our professional class couldn't get more ghoulish or anti-human, they do. Katie Pavlish is an editor at Town Hall. Happy to have her on tonight. Katie, thanks so much for coming on. How do you think Planned Parenthood, which again takes hundreds of millions of dollars from taxpayers every year, it's the largest get out the vote operation the Democrats have, how are they posing as a small business and getting away with it?
Well, Tucker, not only do they get $500 million plus from taxpayers every year, they also have $600 million plus that come in from private donations every year, $2 billion in assets and $2 billion in revenue, with hundreds of millions of dollars left over for things like this. And when you look at the details of these affiliates, dozens of them who've applied for this small business funding, the main umbrella organization of Planned Parenthood is saying, well, we didn't apply as a big organization, but these smaller organizations that are affiliated with us applied because they should be eligible given the small number of employees. And so that's the way that they are justifying it. And the Vice President of Governmental Affairs is saying that the SBA, which is asking these affiliates to give the money back, that this is an unrelenting attack on abortion rights. But they also argue, these affiliates, that the money was being used to save employee paychecks. Well, if it was about saving employee paychecks, then why is she making the argument that this is an attack on abortion rights?
Well, that's a very good point. But so what you're saying is it would be like if the Apple store in Georgetown or Midtown Manhattan applied for a small business loan on the grounds they're a small business because they only have 80 employees.
Right. Right, but then, the Apple headquarters in California did not apply because they have thousands of employees and lots of resources. But the Planned Parenthood Action Fund came out with a statement early on when the CARES Act was first passed that said Planned Parenthood is not eligible for this. So the question that the senators have for the Justice Department to look into is whether these applications were made in a valid, non-fraudulent way. Why is it that some affiliates under Planned Parenthood, who should be receiving plenty of money from this massive organization, were getting taxpayer money, and will they be forced to give it back, given the vast majority of resources that they have?
Well, that's exactly right. It does sound like fraud. I agree with you on that. Katie Pavlish, thank you for that. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Tucker.